product universe here. Donald Trump teaches an expert economist a valuable lesson.
You talked a lot about tariffs. You look at the American economy, 40 million jobs rely on trade. It accounts for 27% of GDP.
Okay.
If you cut that off, that's also going to have an effect on many, many business people here.
Yeah.
Tariffs also have another side. Isn't that something that you have to acknowledge?
No.
You could be plunging America into the biggest trade war since Smoot-Hawley.
But there are no tariffs.
You're going to stop. There are tariffs already at the moment.
There are no tariffs. All you have to do is build your plant in the United States, and you don't have any tariffs.
But people, a lot of places like this, there are a lot of jobs that rely on foreigners coming here. You're going to basically stop trade with China. You're talking about 60% tariffs on that. You're talking, as you said, 100, 200% on things you don't really like. You're also talking about 10, 20% tariffs on the rest of the world. That is going to have a serious effect on the overall economy. And yes, you're going to find some people who will gain from individual tariffs. The overall effect could be massive in terms of the economy.
I agree it's going to have a massive effect, positive effect. It's going to be a positive, not a negative.
Well,
let me just tell you. No, let me tell you. I know how committed you are to this, and it must be hard for you to, spend 25 years talking about tariffs as being negative, and then have somebody explain to you that you're totally wrong. It'll have a negative. It will have. I'll go a step further.
40
if
million,
you don't
40
do
million,
this,
President
this
Trump,
country
40 million jobs is a lot of jobs to rely on trade.
They're all coming back.
Those are 40 million jobs in America that rely on trade.
Are you ready? John Deere, great company. They announced about a year ago they're going to build big plants outside of the United States, right? They're going to build them in Mexico.
And you threatened them with tariffs and they stopped.
That's right. I said, if John Deere builds those plants and not selling anything into the United States, they just announced yesterday they're probably not going to build the plants, okay? I kept the jobs here, and I'll keep them. John Deere will stay here. And I'll tell John Deere, if you do build outside of the United States, you can if you want. For instance, India is a very tough country. It's not only China. China is the, I would say, probably the toughest. But there are a lot of tough. You know what's very tough? European Union. Our beautiful European countries, wonderful, wonderful. If you add them up, they're almost the size of us. They treat us so badly. We have a deficit. I said to Angela Merkel when she was there, she's not there anymore, I wonder why, but when she was there, I said, Angela, how many Chevrolets do we have in Berlin? Why, Donald, you have none. He said, that's right. How many Fords do we have in Frankfurt? I don't know, none. I said, that's right. You know how many cars we have? Mercedes-Benz, and BMW, and all of the different Volkswagen, millions and millions of cars. And then I said, farm products. They don't want our farm products. They don't want anything from us. We have deficits that are crazy. And we're not going to have them anymore. We're going to put tariffs on them, and they're going to do, and you know what they can do? The Mercedes-Benz will start building in the United States. And they have a little bit, but you know what they really are? Assembly, like in South Carolina. But they build everything in Germany, and then they assemble it here. They get away with murder because they say, oh, yes, we're building cars. They don't build cars. They take them out of a box and they assemble them. We could have our child do it.
Can we come back? Let's come back to the Europeans in a second. What about consumers? People out there.
They're going to be the biggest beneficiaries.
Critics say your tariffs will end up being like a national sales tax.
Nope.
Because if you have America at the moment has $3 trillion worth of imports. You're going to add tariffs to every single one of them. That is going to push up the cost for all those people who want to buy foreign goods.
No. What's going to happen?
That is just simple mathematics, President Trump.
It's not. Yeah, it is, but not the way you figure it. I was always very good at mathematics. Yes. Let me tell you, you're saying $3 trillion.
That's $3 trillion worth of imports.
And they don't have to pay. And the higher the tariff, the more likely it is to have them come into the country.
The higher the tariff, the more you're going to put on the value of that piece, those goods, the higher people are going to have to pay in shops.
Ready? The higher the tariff, the more likely it is that the company will come into the United States and build a factory in the United States so it doesn't have to pay the tariff.
That will take many, as you know, that will take many years.
In fact, I'll tell you, there's another theory is that the tariff, you make it so high, so horrible, so obnoxious that they'll come right away. When I do the 10%, 10% is really, first of all, 10% when you collect it is hundreds of billions of dollars. The numbers that you're talking, all reducing our deficit. But really, so there's two ways of looking at a tariff. You can do it as a money-making instrument, or you can do it as something to get the companies. Now, if you want the companies to come in, the tariff has to be a lot higher than 10%, because 10% is not enough. Guys, they're not going to do it for 10. But you make a 50% tariff, they're going to come in.
Donald Trump is very supportive of tariffs as a part of his economic policy. Regarding trade, tariffs are Donald Trump's #1 tool. This video illustrated this perfectly, as Donald Trump's tariff policy is to make tariffs on other countries' goods imported into the United States be so high that it makes business almost impossible for those American companies and others with factories in distant lands where labor is cheaper. And since business would be so bad for these companies because of the Trump tariffs, it would force these companies to close their factories in these distant lands and force them to bring back their factories to the United States and to hire American workers. These tariffs would thus bring back American manufacturing jobs and would increase the number of manufacturing jobs in the United States exponentially, as more Americans would be employed, as thousands of new jobs would be pouring back into the United States. And for the companies that choose to have their factories stay in these distant lands where labor is cheaper, the United States will make a fortune from the tariffs. A fortune that could be used to eliminate certain taxes for the American people. So Donald Trump's tariff policy is a win-win scenario for the United States, as it would bring jobs and corporations back to the United States, which brings back the supply chain and the manufacturing chain to the United States, and would make the United States a fortune at the same time while employing more Americans with more high-paying jobs. That is Donald Trump's thinking on tariffs in a nutshell, and that is what he did in his first term as president, economically with tariffs. This expert is fundamentally anti-tariff and tried to make Donald Trump change his thinking and make him look stupid. But Donald Trump taught him an important lesson about how his tariffs as president made the jobs come back and made the economy stronger than ever before. This conversation between these two deserves to be seen because it shows how Donald Trump's way of thinking on tariffs is better than this expert's point of view, as Donald Trump totally debunked the interviewer's attempts at poo-pooing his economic policies, which delivered low inflation, high wages, and more new jobs for the American people in his first term as president. But that's just my 2 cents, and you are entitled to your 2 cents. If you want, share your opinion in the comments below, as all viewpoints are welcome. If you enjoyed this informational and educational video, then give the video a like and turn on my channel notifications so that you'll be notified the next time I release a new video. Thanks for watching. God bless you, and God bless America.